First off, can you introduce yourself?
My name is Abby Molema.
It's for my name Abukhwane.
I'm Rachel Makatile.
Sabelo Makubo.
My name is TK Kaula.
I am a third-year drama student. I am an activist and an openly gay woman.
I am a Wits student studying BA/PVA, Performing Visual Arts.
I'm a recent law graduate.
I'm an actress. I'm 25 years old.
I'm a student at Wits. I'm studying a BA/PVA, third year.
Musician, transformation activist, and art advocate for better change and for people to take the arts discipline a lot more seriously.
How so? Who doesn't take art seriously?
People who think that the arts is just a hobby, not a serious career path, that you can't make money off your art. So I'm taking it to the people who usually follow the conventional route and say that's the only way to make money. Whereas art is an investment, it's a skill that we have to train for years on end. Talent is just not enough. And for those who take the art seriously will understand that we play a vital role in society, understanding society changes, ways to make it better, and just entertain while making a difference.
My name is Cherae. I am the Theatre Developer and Educational Officer at GALA, Gay and Lesbian Memory in Action. Towards the end of 2013, GALA got funded by AFSA, the AIDS Foundation of South Africa, to run a project that speaks back to sexual and reproductive health rights with young adults and young learners across South Africa. What we then decided was create a performance and use a method called forum theatre, which is part of Augusto Boal's Theatre of the Oppressed concept. I think it's fitting that I would coordinate a project like this and really get my hands dirty in it because I studied the method. I know what is needed of a performance and a performer, but I couldn't do it alone. I couldn't coordinate and facilitate and train. I needed a right-hand man, and for me, that's really what Peter is. Peter and I have both trained in forum theatre under the same teacher, and we've worked together in previous spaces together, training young adults on forum theatre.
Peter.
Say your name and then do it.
Oh, okay. So I say my name first? Yes. Peter, this is the third time now.
Peter.
My name is Peter Budana Molefe. I am a father. I'm an applied drama practitioner. I'm a researcher. I'm a scholar. I'm a lecturer. I'm a community activist. I am a young black man growing up in Africa.
Break it down. What are you going to teach them? What is forum theatre? What is theatre of the oppressed?
Forum theatre, well, theatre of the oppressed is a pedagogy. It is a way of thinking that came with a man called Augusto Boal. The man was from Brazil. His work was informed primarily by a guy called Paulo Freire, who was also from Brazil. Boal's politics were around the idea that the oppressed have a voice, and that theatre has an ability to show alternatives. So with dialogue mixed with theatre, as in theatre on stage, performance theatre, Boal believed that the oppressed, anyone who's in an oppressive state, can be able to find alternatives to liberate themselves from their oppression. So theatre of the oppressed has two modes. There's image theatre and forum theatre. According to Boal's idea, and I use this as well in the same fashion, image theatre leads you into forum theatre. So image theatre is about images. It is about the body being put to test, that we have memory all over, and that with every image that you make, or with every image that is held by a body, that image can be read upon. So you can pull out strands of knowledge from any image. I mean, you can put, in a South African context, you can just put a man with a fist up, and a lot of people will tell you different things about that particular image. With an image, many people can depict many meaning. And if you listen to that as well, it's the whole idea of dialogue, the whole idea that there are no universal truths, that truths are circumstantial, that truths are dependent on people, on ways of thinking. So with his ideology, image theater moves you into forum theater, because with images, and he specifically talks about 3 images. So he talks about the real image, the ideal image, and the image of transition. The real image being the image of the situation as it is. So maybe let's take June 16. Let's take the image of Hector Peterson being shot. And that is the real image, where a boy is carried with a bullet hole in their chest, and they're carried by another student within their arms. That could be a real image. And then you would as a facilitator, joker, ask that the person that is making that image to make an ideal image. So an image that shows the situation as it could be. And maybe it could be that way before that child was shot, that child was running. So maybe the ideal image would be a mother or a father carrying that child into the house before the police could shoot them or anybody shoot them. And then the transitional image would be the image of how do we get there? So how do we get to a point where a child who was shot is never shot, but actually go into the house, like in the ideal image. Those images, when you put them together, and in a workshop space, like you saw, they start to give you a scene. They give you a particular sequence of events, like I just said, real, transitional, and then ideal. From that, you already have a performance. The idea then is to deepen that performance and find out what gives, what's going on here. What is the oppression? How is the oppression dressed? How is the oppression spoken about?
So what do you think Theatre the Oppressed was?
I imagined it to be a space where we workshop plays and we come up with them by ourselves.
No, I had absolutely no idea about Theatre of the Oppressed. It was actually my first time hearing it and hearing about Gusto Boal. And it was quite interesting because it's something new, something completely different, something I don't think in most schools they teach.
I didn't even know it existed until I got to the whole forum theatre setup and we started doing it. So when I first heard the term when we came here, I was just like, okay, it's theatre looking at minority groups or issues of social justice.
I think it's successful for all the reasons they say it's successful. So it's educational, entertaining, interactive at the same time. But also it's kind of hard because being an actor or a participant in it is hard because you have to invest both yourself, the character that you're going to play, and then afterwards you still need to be able to be in and out of character and still have the same energy in both times, and that's kind of hard, especially if you're just used to acting. When it's done you go home and then you rest and you start again tomorrow. This one's kind of more taxing.
And I've been having fun since starting this project. It's been absolutely amazing. I'm taking everything in. I don't want to say it's like a dream come true because it's one of those things where I've always known it's going to happen for me. It's just that it's amazing that I found my calling because it's made me mature a lot and it's made me become very open to a lot of things as well. So it's really interesting. It's a very amazing genre and very, it hits you here, It's one of those things, it hits you here.
What I've learned is that I can actually use my talent, my God-given talent as an actress to also be an activist on stage, and that to me has just broadened my capabilities because I've been an activist through marching, through forums, other forums, but this in a form of theater, it's amazing. It's just one more way that I can actually become an activist.
Think about your week in relation to a fruit. Remember what we did last week in the session? We spoke about week in relation to fruit.
My week was like a nachi. You know those nachos that are like firm on the inside and then the outside is like soft and loose, so it's like not very connected, the skin is not connected and it's easy to peel. It wasn't like that. This nachi was like one of those like tight ones. So I was like peeling piece by piece this whole week.
Well, I had a watermelon, a full round watermelon, and I spent time cutting it into slices, but I didn't get to eat it, so I can enjoy it.
Oh my god. I had a nectarine. It's very nice and ripe and juicy, right? I enjoyed it. It was fantastic, lovely to hold. But because you know how nectarines, like how nectarines sort of work at the stomach, I was constantly frequenting the toilet because of it.
The process began with just trusting each other, understanding each other in the space, getting a sense of why we're here, who is here, what are we here to do, and then starting off with image theatre, because Augusta Boal speaks of how one understanding one's body and how powerful images are, one can go on to creating a piece of theatre. And so Peter and I, we began with image theatre and moved on into forum theatre. It was really interesting because these are young adults who have never ever worked with this type of theatre before, never knew it existed, and for those who didn't realize the extent at which, you know, one needs focus and discipline for this type of work. But they caught on to it. I think that very quickly the group developed a dynamic amongst themselves and enjoyed each other's company, and that was really important because not everyone identifies as gay or lesbian, not everyone understands terms and terminology, so getting them to come together was really an achievement that Pete and I don't take responsibility for, or we don't take praise for. They did it themselves. They came together. The space allowed them to be together.
So now, before we come in on stage as the entire company, we need our joker to come and say, welcome everybody. Before we start, let's do a game. When we say, are you ready? You say, yes, sir. Let's stand up in our seats, and then you just copy what the actors are doing on stage.
Okay. 1, 2, start. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's do Malinga.
Yeah, let's do
Malinga. Yeah, let's do Malinga. Yeah, let's do Malinga. Yeah, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
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 Let's do that.
Let's do that mohawk.
Yeah.
Let's do the mohawk. Let's do the mohawk.
Once Peter left and we'd done the training, it was then my role to process these topics with him: religion and sexual orientation, their personal story, their interest in the topic, their experience within the LGBTI community and the world around them. And that really was a difficult part of the process. I mean, I facilitated it, and I created various processes and workshops for us to deal with these concepts, work through these concepts. But at that point, I think the group switched off. For the first part of our training, it was fun and engaging and they were learning. And the second component, they had to go into the I. They had to locate themselves in this topic. And I think that was a little bit more difficult for them than the learning theatre, than the performing in theatre. And once we had covered that part, we had to move into making and creating. And then all of a sudden they removed themselves from the equation. And they started speaking of as theatre makers and removed themselves and all the things that we had processed together. And then it was like a stuck record that they weren't able to get a story down. I didn't want to feed them. I could have said, this is the story you're going to tell. But then what was the reason for us processing? So we processed all of that. They needed to take that and tell the story that they wanted to. So it was a bit it wasn't very stable during that time. But once we got a story down, Peter came back in and we started rehearsing.
Speak the emotion. I mean, don't always speak the emotion, but show the emotion.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be, it's fun. It's your first showing. Your first audience.
Gosh. I'm feeling good.
Feeling tired and partially drained.
I didn't expect all of this. The workshop was great, but then I realized how short our time was.
So are you nervous about playing the Joker then?
I'm like shit nervous, sorry. I'm like really nervous about playing the Joker. Because I'm not playing someone, I'm presenting myself on stage. And I don't know how people normally do that, like MCs and like presenters. I don't know how they usually do that. But now I respect them a whole lot more actually. So, and it's hard playing yourself in a platform where judgment is there and you allow it to be there, it should be there.
I don't know how I'm feeling right now. I'm excited, I'm happy, but I'm also like semi-defeated.
Why are you semi-defeated?
Because now we had a restructuring which works for the play. Now it's the whole thing of having to embellish a new character. I've been trying a lot of things and they don't really seem to be working, so it's kind of frustrating.
Because I guess I've let go, you know, and we've been doing it over and over again. We did it on Monday. On Monday, it was just like, it's a piece, it's there. But now we're actually rehearsing it and we have something, so it's like...
We've made a lot of progression, actually, because for the mere fact that we've got an actual story, we've got something tangible that we can actually embellish and work on and redefine and everything. Whereas during workshop, we'd struggle, I guess, to find material because, you know, I mean, nothing goes without politics. So like someone gives an idea and somebody doesn't understand maybe the whole thing of giving an idea and just trying it, so someone's defensive and whatnot. So you have a lot of those kind of negative qualities to it. But now, because we've got something that like, yes, it's exciting and everyone's working with it, it's like we've got something and it's beautiful and we're just trying to make it work now.
I actually like the process because now it really starts like showing that this is the work that you're producing. This is ultimately what's going to speak to a month's work of foreign theatre. So it's interesting to see it, but it's kind of scary at the same time because you're just wondering, is it going to be a good piece and will I bring something into it that makes it a good piece or a very good piece? Yeah.
Dynamics as a whole, as a group, how we're trying to make it better is we're pushing each other, especially because time is now actually limited. We don't have so much time. Everything kind of needs to be solidified because Saturday is our last rehearsal. So the group dynamics and how we're helping each other, pushing each other, that's really making us stronger, actually.
I guess it's getting to the performing part, you know, because we've been waiting for this moment, actually. This is why we're here, to perform and create work. I think this is the highlight, actually, because most of us are performers and we love doing it. So for me, this is my highlight, being on stage, doing something, making work.
How I felt about the GALA team coming through to watch the performance was a bit intimidating because they are like the facilitators of the whole funding that's coming through to the project. So you have to first impress the people who kind of run the project, then impress the funders or the people who actually giving you the money to actually have this production happening. So it was a bit intimidating, but it was very good because we got constructive feedback. We got to understand where exactly from people who are experts in the field were at and how they could identify with it, which enabled us to kind of tweak, recreate in some part of our work and provide the kind of structure and framework that was needed for our production.
It really felt just okay. The difference was that we had an audience, and you know, in your performance, you had to take note of that. And yeah.
My character, it's a bit different from what I've played before. The characters I've played of late have been the most challenging ones because it's kind of outside my comfort zone. I'm used to playing the out there kind of character. Now with these characters I'm playing now, it's more stricter, more to the point.
I suppose throughout the process you do get in touch with the character the more you get to play it. And I suppose the build up towards where we are now, where we finally are in terms of the kind of relationship that we have with our characters, it's something that builds up over time, and I think I'm more familiar with my character now, so yeah, I suppose.
The comment that there are no homophobes in that group, because I was looking at it in one direction. I was thinking that most importantly, the people who are oppressing others can actually see that it's wrong, because when you see yourself in like when somebody shows you yourself, then you're aware and then you can change. So that's what I initially thought the impact would be, which is nice if it happens, but I mean that's not the only thing. So I felt like we're preaching to a choir.
Like if I told you we're going to perform in a high school tomorrow, do you think you're at a comfort level?
Yeah, I believe that we are at that level where we can perform.
As a group, I don't think we could ever get to a point where we're fully ready. I think readiness is a state of constant work. You constantly have to get yourself ready, even though you might not really be ready. I don't think we ever get to a point where we are 100% ready.
But I think we are. I think we're ready to go, and hopefully the people of the schools and the people of the country also are ready to see what we have for them.
bit better.
My turn.
Mom! Get back! Mom! I was watching!
Anilisiwe, my child, what is this thing that I'm hearing?
Oh, very well, Anilisiwe.
Father God, please. Oh, hallelujah.
How do you think Anilisiwe feels? I mean, I like girls. I don't know how to answer this question, but this is who I am.
Do you cry? Do you feel pain? Does it feel different when you hurt the next person? How is your emotional between the two of you guys?
So,
Right wearing pants. You're a girl.
or is it from back home, your farm, homestead, or whatever that you think like?
Yeah, I'll be very sad, but if it's in the wrong direction, she must deal with the consequences.
Like being in a relationship.
How are you feeling after your first performance with high school kids?
It was fucked up on different levels.
Uncontrollable is the word.
I was not prepared to deal with this kind of audience. And then you sort of fall flat in terms of the kind of relationship that you have with your character and what you were supposed to portray. So the minute you lose that, you lose your audience, you lose your character, and everything just falls flat.
I loved my HILLBROW performance. It's just, I think for me, it was one of those things where, you know what, you feel different as a performer, like doing this kind of theatre, obviously, because like if I did a realistic play, like I don't give two shits, my language, who I'm performing for.
The more comfortable I feel, the better I'm able to listen to everything and hear everything and try and like put it together into the play. So that is practice, time, and hopefully experience will like make me be better at that.
Like when religion came into the whole mix, the kids were clapping and they're like, yes, preach, yes, mom, Zoda. I was just like, oh gosh. But when those girls were talking about more acceptance and leniency, that's when I was like, finally a play that's getting to, even if it's not the whole group, but there's at least someone in the crowd who can be happy and engage with what we actually try to do with the text, the play, the dialogue, the spoken word, etc. Yeah.
I can feel when the students answer or when the students question us, I can feel the fact that Abby, can you stop moving behind the camera? I can feel that their questions come from a deep place. I can feel that they're not just asking because they have the opportunity to ask. They're asking because these are the questions that they've been longing to ask. They're asking because they want to know the answers and they want to know the directions to take from where they're at now. And you can see, man, that these kids, they enjoy the platform that we've given them. And that's all we needed to do actually to start the conversation, and we did. So I feel like we've done a good job.
Do you want to do film theatre again?
Yes.
It would be interesting because I think a different topic would mean you learn a different thing. So that's what I'd be interested in doing.
I feel like I owe it to every child in South Africa or in the world for them to be part of this. I wish that every child in the world could actually see it.
I'm so sad that it has ended because I think ever since I've worked with different people in this, in acting and performance and whatever, I think this is the one group that I felt most comfortable with. Because of my sexual orientation, I think that I found people that actually kind of understand me. When I'm outside, it's like I have to limit myself in terms of the things that I say, what I feel, because of how people might take it. And I'm kind of new to this whole thing. Like I'm getting to know myself. So I think this is the one group that has actually made me feel so comfortable about being myself. and teamwork as well. We've worked so well as a team. We've had so much fun together. And I've also made new friends with these people. I've gotten to know a few ones a bit more. So this journey has been it's hit home for me, and I just love every single one of them. And you, Annie.
I'm gonna miss you all. I really love this journey, and I really, really hope we keep the connection that we have. We stay in touch, you know. I mean, I know TK. I'm going to see her ratchet self at Kitchener's. So yeah. But Mama Cherae, thank you so much. GALA, thank you so much. Ford, everyone, our sponsors. Like, it's been real. It's been good. Let's do this again sometime.
But really, when are we doing this again? I would really like to encourage others to get involved and get involved in work that challenges their limits, because so far we're used to doing work that is kind of our context, and we only do things that suit us. Now do work that is outside of your framework. This was such work doing things outside the framework. Firstly, from the topic, outside my framework. Firstly, to the art form, outside what I'm used to doing, and that has really challenged what I can do more and how I can incorporate the arts a lot more. And I still stand to the point, take art a lot seriously. If there's something I would really want to see in the next 5 to 10 years being number one, and I feel like forum theatre and other theatre forms are really doing, is we are going to get the arts to be the number one career in the world, in demand, close enough to be a medical doctor.
Do you think you've accomplished what you wanted to accomplish with this?
Yes, but on a minute scale, and that's where I have such sadness, because we did accomplish in every school we went to and every space we performed in. We had that dialogue, we did some sensitizing, we provided a space for questions and answers. Such a pity that there were such few spaces we could do it in.
I hope and I pray that one day South African education will change and we would look towards arts education, because as black people, as African people, we are already artistic. I mean, when you are a child, when I was a child, I'm told, the first thing I learned before I learned talking was singing. I hummed, I had tunes, you know, I drew stuff, I love dancing. So as black African people, and I'm sorry for being so boxing right now, but as we are already artistic. And I find that if we can not fight, but maybe fight, or if we can introduce arts education as a main, not as an extra, not as an extramural activity, no, but as a main form of learning, part of English, part of maths, part of whatever, in the schools, then we will start to see our young people flourish, because in there they're free. Like I said, theatre, the arts, is able to offer alternatives for people, and our young people are looking towards that. And I think that is why they go into things like drugs and all, you know, alcohol and thing and all of that, because they're looking for something. They are looking for something inspiring, something creative, something that's going to engage all of them. And I say arts education is the way. Thank you.